Welcome back to Discovering Your Divine Destiny. The last several podcasts, we've been talking about the how to discover your divine destiny. In our first 4 podcasts, we shared the what, the when, the where, and the why. You discovering your divine purpose is so important, not only for yourself, but also for the entire world. These podcasts are foundational to all of what we're talking about. So if you haven't listened to or watched them, please, please, please do so. What a beautiful place this would be if everyone were walking in their unique purpose.
We would like to start by acknowledging all of our followers and letting you know we are praying for you every day for you to step into your divine destiny. Prayer is very powerful. If you have a specific prayer request, please comment below, or if private, please email us at contact@dydd.us and we will be in agreement with you.
The sponsor of the show is Lord & Bill's Real Estate. If you know anyone in the DFW Metroplex looking to buy or sell, please refer them. The information will be in the description below, or you can visit lbrellc.com. Last podcast, we discussed Ephesians 6:12 and how putting on the full armor of God is tied to forgiveness. This is key and why it is so important for you to be able to walk into your divine destiny. If you haven't listened to it or watched it, again, please do so on our website or listen in any podcast platform. Or now you can watch us on Saturday mornings and Saturday afternoons on Faith Points TV at 9 a.m. or 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this week, we're back with most of our panel, Suzanne.
Hello.
And Austin.
Hello.
And myself, Lisa. And Scott will be back soon. I know we keep saying that, but he will. The last few podcasts, we've discussed how unforgiveness opens the door for the enemy to gain access to your life, which will hinder the flow of the blessings of God and his divine direction in your life. The enemy is a legalist. In spiritual war, which we can't see, by the way, there are spiritual laws in place. Regardless of whether or not we want to acknowledge them, we will experience the consequences of his legal rights. We're going to discuss spiritual warfare in the next podcast and address this as well then. Last podcast, we talked about putting on the full armor of God and how it ties to forgiveness, as well as the steps to forgive, which we will recap throughout today's podcast. This podcast, we're going to focus on setting healthy boundaries and what that looks like. So let's jump right in. Suzanne, would you please share the following scriptures to open us up on setting healthy boundaries?
Yes. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This verse highlights the importance of protecting your inner self, your thoughts, feelings, and values, because your heart influences every action and relationship. Guarding your heart is crucial for maintaining healthy boundaries.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the ways you can guard your heart. How you be very careful on what you allow in your eye gate, your ear gates, what you listen to, what you watch on television, and those you hang around, what kind of conversations you're having. All of this will affect your heart. So would you read the next scripture?
Sure. Proverbs 22:3, the prudent see danger and take refuge. This verse encourages wisdom and foresight in recognizing potential harm and taking steps to protect yourself, which can include setting physical or relational boundaries to withdraw from dangerous or unhealthy situations.
So what are some ways we could do that? Be discerning, situationally aware, be wise on where you decide to go and those you hang around, the environments that you go to. Like back in the day before I walked with the Lord, I used to go to clubs. That's not a good place, probably. More than likely, to be honest with you. But
we won't talk about what I used to do.
What about you, Austin? Do you have any thoughts there?
I guess it's really just about knowing when someone that you're allowing into your life is positively and or negatively affecting you.
Yeah.
And you just really have to make a conscious decision to either keep them in your life or to kind of separate yourself from the situations they're putting you in.
Yeah, yep. That's good. Yep.
Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. While not directly about setting personal boundaries, these verses link wisdom and self-control to submitting to God's guidance, which can lead to straighter paths and a disciplined life, essential for establishing healthy boundaries.
Perfect wisdom comes from God, and the world's ways are quite different. This is why you must know what God's word says and implement and trust Him. It may not make sense, but again, it's because it's contrary to the way that the world operates and does things. Boundaries are deeply connected to self-control, a core principle. Biblical principle. They help prevent selfish desires from harming others and protect us from those who may try to control us. Boundaries are presented as a wise, not selfish way to safeguard your spiritual and emotional well-being, allowing you to live according to God's purpose. Setting boundaries involves clearly communicating what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in your life. The boundaries are presented as a wise and not selfish way to safeguard you really resonates with me. Again, it ties to how the world system is, which is contrary to, to the word and to the way God tells us to do things. Do you guys have any insight or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just say that you really need to stay in prayer and everything when you're setting your boundaries, because you need to know what boundaries are coming from God and what are being pressured onto you. You got to make sure that the boundaries you're setting are good for your I don't know how to word it. Good
well-being.
For your well-being in your relationship with God. I mean, you don't want to distance yourself from Him because you're walking down the wrong path and cutting off people that He wants in your life to be around people that make your life more fun, maybe, or whatever.
It goes back to discerning as well.
Yeah, discerning, yeah.
Which I'm not good at.
Yeah, we'll have a Q&A on that. Bring us up to date from the first podcast, because you're learning along this journey as well.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, God Himself set boundaries in creation, such as giving the sea its limits, which demonstrates the importance and inherent wisdom of boundaries. The Bible encourages self-discipline and setting boundaries to live a healthy life aligning with God's Word. Spiritual boundaries involve protecting your faith and spiritual growth from influences that could lead you astray or away from God's purpose.
It's important to make sure that you have a daily regimen or routine that incorporates time alone with God so that you can discern. Jesus often withdrew to pray and spend quiet time with God, even when busy with ministry. Establishing prayer as a priority, Jesus had different levels of trust and interaction with people, showing that it's not about having walls, but discerning how to best relate to others. Understand your own needs and limits and set boundaries with others accordingly. It's okay to say no to someone if they are crossing personal boundaries in harmful or destructive ways. And I have too many personal examples when I didn't say no and it ended up horribly and I regretted it. So I've learned to say no, and it's very liberating. Austin,
yes, it is.
Andy, y'all have any?
Yeah, I know I personally have a hard time telling people no. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things I'm trying to work on. I feel like I'm too much of a people pleaser at times. So whenever someone asks something of me, I usually go out of my way to try and make it happen for them. Mm-hmm. And that's put me in a lot of situations where it wasn't the best situation for me, but it made their life easier or better. Yeah. And I guess personally, I'm really working on telling those people no in those moments, just because I need to make sure I'm focused on me, my relationship with God and family and everything, instead of what
priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities.
You gotta know your priorities. And I was actually reading something recently that said it helps to set life goals. So if you have never set life goals, which I'm trying to start and figure out like what I want to do with all that and follow that process. And it really helps you focus on what's important and what steps you need to take to get to where you need to be and what's leading you astray and how to get away from them.
Yeah. I can tell you, the older you get, saying no comes easier.
Yeah.
Early does.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When setting boundaries, seek guidance from God and be confident in your decisions, as your identity is rooted in Him. As a child of God, you are capable of setting boundaries, and you are worthy of having them respected.
I think that's really important for people to understand that you are worthy, that you deserve to be respected. And I think sometimes I don't know what it is, but you just feel like you're not worthy. A lot of people, I think, feel that way, to be honest with you.
I don't.
Well, not now, but there was a day when I did, right? So I don't know. Anyway, okay. Do you want to share, Austin?
Yes.
What resonates with you?
Well, one of the things that really helps me whenever I'm trying to make a decision or going through a challenging time is the serenity prayer, which goes, please grant me the serenity to accept what cannot be changed, the courage to change what can be changed, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Yeah, that's really good. It's really good.
That is.
And that prayer has really helped me recently, because there's been I say recently, I haven't really made any big life decisions recently personally, but just whenever it comes to just everyday decisions,
Every day is a struggle.
It just brings a sense of peace when you
Say that prayer.
And that's the key. I was going to say, let peace be the umpire in every situation. If you get a check in your spirit, or you feel like it's going against something, then you just wait until you know for sure, that the direction that you're supposed to go in.
Forgiveness does not require you to tolerate ongoing harm or to be a doormat. Focus on hobbies and activities you love. Spend time with friends or do charity work to shift your focus and perspective. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, or a mentor to get the guidance and support you need. Be gentle with yourself, foster inner peace, and respond to your own needs as you would to someone you love deeply.
Okay. So how do we process? I personally take everything to the Lord, and I don't do anything. I'm very angry usually when something has hurt me. And I think that's usually a couple phases later, which we'll get into the processes of the emotional process cycle that you go through. Yeah, but mine initially is usually anger, and then I tell myself, I'm not going to do anything for 72 hours, and I don't. So that's how I process it. What about you guys?
I'm there for the people that do that.
Yes, you are.
I consider I've been there for the people that do that as well.
Yeah.
But I know for me, if there's something that happens that upsets me, I usually try to distance myself from it in the moment. And I go back and I try to think on it, and I take time to kind of just be alone so I can process it. And I know that the times that I haven't distanced myself, I usually react poorly, and it causes more harm in the relationship between me and whoever happened to harm me in the time than it would have if I just was able to distance myself in the moment
and forgive.
Yeah. Obviously it comes back to being able to forgive them, but I just need that time to be able to process it, because sometimes I'm just taking things the wrong way. Like they're not meaning to hurt me. It's just
misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding, or something that day happened, and then the littlest thing will set you off, and it's really not a big deal what happened. It's just everything. It piled on to everything that had happened before.
Cumulative effect of everything going on.
The core elements of forgiveness include acknowledging the hurt, making a conscious decision to let go of resentment, releasing the desire for revenge of punishment, and showing mercy to the offender, all while recognizing that forgiveness is a personal process, not an event or a forgetting of the past. It's a choice to heal oneself from the pain, not necessarily to reconcile or endorse the offender's actions.
It's important to recognize that a breach of trust or a hurtful action has occurred, causing a wound that needs healing. We must release the desire to hold on to anger, resentment, or a need for revenge against that person who caused the pain. Forgiveness is an empowered, conscious decision to move past the hurt and choose a path toward healing for oneself. Again, you must decide to forgive. You can't wait until you feel like it, or it probably won't happen. So I love, it's an empowered decision. What, you guys have any comments on that? Just with the boundaries,
Yeah, I guess it's just, I would say it empowers you in the moment of forgiveness, because you realize that you don't have to be affected by the situation anymore. And I mean, just because you forgive them doesn't mean you have to forget what happened. It's just, it's a feeling of letting go and releasing.
Not having that anxiety inside of you and anger.
Wondering, how am I going to react when I see this person? Am I going to be able to keep from doing something that hurts them? And once you just forgive them, it kind of sets you up for
peace.
Just peace to reach back out with them and be able to maybe rebuild and get back to where you were before.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Define empowerment, the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights.
Sometimes when we're hurt, we tend to feel out of control and it's almost paralyzing spiritually. We need to protect our emotional space. Make a conscious decision to not let it control you, which we've talked a little bit just now.
About knee jerks.
Yeah, I know. It's really important not to lash out in those moments of anger because, as I previously stated, you'll end up making a situation worse than it needs to be in most cases. Because typically when you end up lashing out, the person that hurt you may not even realize that they had hurt you in the moment, and then all of a sudden they think that you're doing something to hurt them, and it causes basically a spiraling effect, and it kind of just gets out of hand.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Practical steps for overcoming unforgiveness involve acknowledging your pain, understanding the other person's perspective, practicing self-compassion, and deciding to let go for your own well-being. This is a process that requires patience and self-reflection, and it does not mean forgetting the harm that was done or condoning the behavior.
It's okay to acknowledge and process your hurt. Before you can let go, you must fully recognize and validate the pain that you experienced. Journaling or talking with a trusted person can help you articulate exactly how the situation affected you and why it was not okay. Allow yourself to feel anger, sadness, or resentment without judgment. Suppressing these feelings can intensify them and slow down your healing. Be patient with yourself.
Healing from significant hurt takes time, and you cannot force forgiveness before you are ready. Webster's dictionary defines process as a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. When experiencing emotional hurt, people often go through a set of phases, similar to the stages of grief, that guide them toward healing. These stages are not a linear process and may be experienced in a different order or repeated over time.
Changing how you view the situation can help loosen the grudge's grip. Try to understand the circumstances that might have led the other person to behave as they did, even if you don't condone their actions. It can sometimes be easier to forgive the person if you can separate their actions from their deeper self. We've discussed in the past, sometimes people don't realize they are being used by the enemy and may not even realize what they're doing. Resentment often stems from a gap between your expectations and reality. Remind yourself that you can only control your actions and reactions. Remembering times when you were forgiven for a mistake can make it easier to extend grace to others. John 10:10, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but he can only use people. Those hurts come from people. So it's important that you forgive and loosen it and let it go.
Yeah, release and reframe your thoughts. Unforgiveness is often fueled by ruminating on the past. We've talked about this in previous podcasts on how taking control of your thoughts is a critical step to moving forward. Catch yourself when you start replaying the painful event in your mind, deciding to change your mental focus to something else, and repeat this every time you catch yourself. Understand that getting even or holding a grudge is a pain multiplier that will not actually bring you peace. Focus on what you can do now to move on constructively.
Yeah, when I start to replay things in my head, and I often do, sometimes when I'm angry, like I said, I start with anger, then I find a scripture, I speak it out loud, or I just say, I forgive this person out loud, or I say something positive on what I wanted to see the end result out loud to get over. And I will do it every single time until it goes away.
Yep.
Identifying and realizing the different phases of emotional hurt and healing will help with setting these healthy boundaries. This may include shock and denial. This is the immediate numbed response to a traumatic event or pain. You may feel disbelief and find it difficult to accept the reality of what has happened. Denial serves as an emotional buffer, allowing you to absorb the news and process it gradually.
As the shock and denial begin to wear off, the pain may be masked by anger. This anger can be directed toward yourself, other people involved, inanimate objects, or even a higher power. This stage is a natural, necessary part of the healing process as it helps you reconnect with your feelings after a period of numbness.
Then there's the coming to grips phase. In this phase, you may find yourself focused on what if and if only statements. This is an attempt to regain control or reverse the situation by making deals with yourself or a higher power. It is a defense mechanism to postpone the deep sadness, helplessness, and confusion you may feel. also known as depression or sadness. As the reality of the situation sets in, intense feelings of sadness, emptiness, and despair may appear. This stage is not a sign of a mental health disorder, but rather an appropriate and natural response to a significant loss. You may isolate yourself to cope and reflect on the loss.
Then processing and testing. During this phase, you will begin to explore new ways to cope with the pain. This might involve trying new strategies, seeking support, or testing how to deal with this new reality. It is a period of transition where you take action to reconstruct your life. Yeah. Does anybody have anything they want to share here?
I know you do.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just, I do have situations where I've had to do that. It just came out of the blue. I just, treated somebody very well for a long time. And then they just turned around and did something that was, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it took a long time to process it and say, whoa.
Still have to forgive.
Yeah, I'm still,
it's a process.
It's an estranged relationship, but it was hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I've had one experience I had was, I guess back in high school, I was dating this girl and me and this guy that was one of my best friends at the time were really close. And her and him ended up dating shortly after, like within a week of me and her breaking up. Mm-hmm. And I know I had a hard time at first getting past that. And I kind of separated myself from the friendship because I couldn't, if they get together that quickly after we break up, it makes you wonder, and so it took me a while, and then I was able to reach back and be friends with him, and we talked about it, and we were able to move past it and everything. But I know in the moment that it was happening, especially being in high school, being young, you're growing up, you're learning, hormones are going crazy, and you kind of just respond to things differently than how an adult may respond to them.
Yeah.
But I was able to forgive, and we were friends.
That's good.
Throughout the rest
you can. I've had that happen several times. I forgave, but I'm like, no, I don't talk to him anymore.
It happened to me too, and we're friends on Facebook now.
Okay, well, good for you. Okay.
All right, Rudeness.
Yes, I forgave.
Yeah, good.
It took me years, though. Anyway, acceptance and resolution. This is the gradual stage where you accept the new reality. It does not mean you're okay with what happened, but you realize that life will continue. You begin to reintegrate into daily activities and find a sense of purpose again, though some sadness may still linger.
In order to cope with emotional pain, you must validate your feelings. Allow yourself to experience painful emotions without judgment. Suppressing or avoiding these feelings can prevent healing. Identify and reframe negative thoughts. Be aware of these negative thoughts. They are false beliefs that follow a hurtful event and challenge them. This can help prevent emotional pain from spiraling into more intense distress.
Practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment to stay grounded and connected to your body. Mindfulness techniques like deep breathing can help regulate emotions when you feel overwhelmed. Release emotional blockages. Techniques like journaling, meditation, and exercise can help release emotions that might be manifest as physical symptoms.
Build a support system. Reach out to trusted friends, family, or support groups to share your experiences and receive comfort.
Now, I personally reach out to the Lord and talk to him a lot and reach out to trusted friends. Mm-hmm. Okay, you sure? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Now we're going to talk about, we took a forgiveness test, which we will include in the description below, the link to it, and we're going to share our results. So
you have to explain the number system?
Yeah, well, it's online, yeah. And so we're just going to share the
link,
the window that we fell into.
Okay.
As far as our results go. Yeah. Ours was 63 to 86, you and me.
And it starts at 1 to...
I don't know. It's in the test. I'm just telling you what our results are. I don't know. I didn't analyze it.
Okay. Yes.
But I want to say it was a high result. But I will tell you the reason ours is that way is because I've literally practiced and implemented all of the things that we're talking about, and that we have been on the last several podcasts because it didn't start out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would have been at the bottom for sure.
So we all kind of fell into the same range. The range was
You weren't in our range.
You just said the range was 63 to 86. I was a guy at 68.
Oh, did you?
I'm just on a different level of the same range as y'all. But the ranges basically went very low, average, high, very high.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we all fell in the high
Yeah,
range.
not the highest, but the next to the highest.
Yeah. And again, it's only because
What we've done our whole
implement
life.
And I just barely made the cut because I am learning and growing.
Yes, we all are. I think that's good. Okay. Okay.
In the next podcast, we'll discuss spiritual warfare, how to identify and discern what it is, and practical steps to have victory in this life here and now.
And just a reminder, this podcast will be aired every second and fourth Thursday of every month on all podcast forums on our Facebook and YouTube channel, as well as our website at discoveringyourdivinedestiny.us or dydd.us. And now you can watch us on Saturdays on Faith Points TV, on Roku, Fire, Apple at 9 a.m. or 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. As mentioned earlier, our sponsor for this podcast is Lord & Bill's Real Estate. If you know anyone looking to buy or sell on the DFW Metroplex, please see the description below. Details in the description below.
And we'd love to hear from you and what you believe your destiny is or might be and what it means to you. Please comment below or please feel free to email any questions or feedback to contact@dydd.us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We look forward to hearing from y'all.
And always remember that discovering your divine destiny will affect eternity. A quick disclaimer, the content in this podcast is for general and educational purposes only. It's not intended to provide any professional, financial, medical, or legal advice. Please consider everything shared as our personal experiences and opinions. Please consult a professional in each area for professional advice.